You're tuned into Ink and Identity. So if someone's listening and feels unseen right now, what would you want them to know?
Your very existence is needed.
Yes.
So within that shared experience, see it as a gift, rendering you into the now. Because if you hadn't that experience, how could you share that story?
Right.
And how would you be able to relate to someone later on in their life sharing that? And it stems from gratitude and processing that moment and showing yourself a kindness and a mercy that you don't always have to be performing. It's not all about performing. It's about that behind the scenes moment of our very human experience.
Okay, welcome back to Ink and Identity. And we have Lucia today with us, who's the creative force behind Five Eyes Wide Art. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. So tell everyone what's your medium and what you do. What's behind the Five Eyes Wide Art?
I am a multidisciplinary artist. I dabble in photography and digital art, but I also like to sketch. I like to paint. I'm all about just seeing it and feeling it in the moment, and kind of came into its own just by existing and then working with other creators. And then we ended up here.
Wow. So is there like a linear way to get to what you feel like doing in a day, or or is it a variation of just like, this is what I feel?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So if it's a piece of wood, you just gotta go get it and start working on it.
Exactly.
Your canvas just here.
Yes. And it stems from my childhood. I never knew that I couldn't, because my parents and my grandparents just provided us with the imagination, in the sense that, okay, so I'm going to kind of date myself, but like, here's encyclopedias, because there wasn't any internet when I was a kid growing up. And it was, what are you finding purposeful?
Gotcha.
And then where's the A to Z, and then the in between. So like, if I wanted to know how a radio worked, for instance, because our grandpa was in the Air Force, so he was into computer engineering, and I was around all of these parts. And so I could disassemble a radio and then I could reassemble it. And to me, that was a creative element, where others would see it as reverse engineering. So there's an engineering element to it. Because of that, I kind of always thought outside of the box. So then there was no linear element, which you pointed out, so that I just felt like it all encompassed.
Yeah. So you just feel like all of it is a form of art.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely beautiful. I need to reassemble and assemble.
And they came from the South and farmland. When you purchase things, you weren't going to purchase something that you yourself couldn't put back together.
Right.
Because you're so far away from your nearest neighbor.
Yeah, you have to know how to put it together. Oh, that's beautiful. So where are you from?
I'm from Ontario, the Inland Empire.
Gotcha. Ontario, Riverside just have so many creative people around here.
Yes, it's kind of evolved.
It has.
From when I was a kid, I used to go to walking field trips to the museum, and now we have an entire community.
Like the art walk?
That was small back in the day.
And now it's humongous?
And now it's humongous.
You describe your art as being about presence. What does presence mean to you in your everyday life?
Now, I'm here with you. I'm not thinking about my job or other responsibilities where people would be worried or stressed out about. I find this moment that I get to share with you very valuable.
Yeah.
If that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. With the presence, how do you feel like that correlates to art? Like, do you always have to be present, or because I feel like art varies, right? If it's on a piece of canvas and you're going through grief or something, I mean, I always feel like you're in that moment of that emotion at that time. But how do you feel like the presence of yourself is critical to whatever you're trying to create?
Like you mentioned, if it's grief, for example, and I'm painting in a state of grief, then it's a processing of the emotion in a healthy frame. And then you're utilizing all of those elements to bring it into the three-dimensional. And so then it becomes a time capsule. And then it will have a beginning, a middle, and an end from every state of that creation. Because you may have created it from grief, it becomes a time capsule. And then your audience will then render wherever they're experiencing that
Yeah.
emotional state and their journey of healing,
Yeah,
for example.
absolutely. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's like amongst that time capsule, your audience lands wherever they are currently in their life.
And then you can make it relatable based off of your experience. And how are you going to share that experience if you're not walking that path
Yeah.
yourself?
So you call yourself a visual listener. Can you unpack what that means?
Being in the moment and creating that authentic connection. And then you're immersed into that environment because photography, for example, not everyone feels comfortable in front of the camera.
Me, surprisingly. It's like I'm comfy, but I'm not.
I couldn't tell.
That's the I'm comfy, but I'm not.
Yeah.
It's like I want to be there, but then accomplishing what I
Mhm.
think it should look like seems so far from where I'm at.
Okay, okay. But this is what we're fostering, right?
Mhm.
So then I like to capture the behind the scenes of where we're documenting, again, like if it were for painting,
Yeah.
and then finding that diversity in it. So it's not so compartmentalized. And then I work with a lot of other artists and photographers, and I'm able to capture them and see, like, you are also art. And it takes a level of trust and being in front of the camera because it takes a level of vulnerability because no one knows what you're going to do, what your intention is with their image. So how do you create that safe, authentic, and then trustworthy connection?
Wow, that's interesting. That's a very good point. You are also art.
Mm-hmm. You are also art.
Yeah, I am. I'm a walking
Yes.
art canvas billboard.
Mhm. More than that, it's just one facet of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I like that. I think the world should take on that perspective. You are also art. And no matter what you're doing in life, right?
Because if you think of it, sometimes it's performance.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to wear the mask.
Right.
But it isn't our inauthentic self. It just serves a purpose for each environment that we're in.
Right.
And that goes to show we're multidimensional. We're not just one dimension rendered. There's different angles of that.
Absolutely. I know some other previous artists, sometimes they shy away from the word multidisciplinary artists because they feel like it's a negative thing versus a positive thing. What's your take on it?
It's just all about your perspective.
Yeah.
It's neither good nor bad. It just is. It's like how a reality or an experience can be objective or it can be subjective.
Right.
Just based off of your emotional state in that moment. But you're not defined by that one moment. It's just an experience.
And I think it's beautiful that you can kind of move in different directions and staying in that linear sense that I was talking about. Right?
And then as we talk more, you get to see and witness my thought process as it not being linear.
Yeah.
And then that's where all the multidisciplinary aspect comes out of it.
But it's amazing. You know how to put a radio together and then disassemble.
Yeah. And then at one point it was iPods because I wanted to know how they functioned and their hard drives and then like speakers and how magnets hold sound. And so I just take it apart and figure out how it works and then I put it back together.
In the one piece, and it still works.
I mean, it took time and practice, but yeah.
And when you put it back together, it was an iPod.
It's functional. Yes,
it's functional.
My siblings still have all of theirs.
Oh,
I'm the eldest of 5.
Yeah.
So I made each of my siblings one, and they still have it till today. To this day, and I still have them because when I first started getting into IT, a lot of things I couldn't afford, like original Apple parts, cost a lot of money.
Right.
But you could trade time for skill.
Gotcha.
And then you handle it with integrity and mutual benefit. So if my friends needed help with their laptops, but they had like a broken iPod, then I could
take the pieces.
Oh, and then build a new one.
She's a hustler too.
I true. Hey, that's where all the creative element comes from.
It's all part of creativity.
I'm telling you, we're sitting right here, right now, because of that very reason.
Exactly. Yeah. I love it. I love it. You said your art is inseparable from who you are. When did you realize that?
As a child. That's the thing. I feel like our very Western ideology of thinking can be compartmentalized because we have like our governments, our religions, our culture, our heritage, our families, and there's all of these like labels to us. And even my given name, I always just felt I just am.
Yeah.
I'm not Lucia. I'm not all of these other things. I just want to vibe and to create, and it's just part of multi facets of who we are.
Gotcha.
If that answers your
Yeah,
question.
absolutely. So, how has navigating identity and belonging shaped your creative lens?
Identity seems such like a finite thing
It is.
to me, and art is just one element of who we are. But I believe that we're all artists in our own right, even if you just painted one painting or you took one photograph. You are all of that. So art and identity is just one facet of me.
Yeah.
And we're sharing that experience in the here and now as we're having this conversation.
I always think about when every child, if they had that opportunity to, even if they didn't, like we were all creative at some point.
Yes.
Like we were imagining stories. I mean, we'll create fantasies. 'Cause I know I have like old painting, not paintings, but drawings of like still life, like just watching something and
Yes.
and copying it. So I do feel like there is a level of artistry in everyone.
Exactly.
And it's just a matter of if we kind of tap into it, right?
Yeah. And sometimes if we think about it in a corporate fashion or anything like that, and then people would disregard that they could ever be an artist.
Yeah.
So I kind of veer away from that in a sense, because there's like also like the poverty disparity.
Yeah.
And who necessarily didn't have the means.
Right.
But you can create with any element around you.
Dirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you could sing, you can hum, you can skip, you can clap, you can dance, you're never not being an artist. You're never not being creative. Even if you have a worry and you're having a struggle, you're still trying to come up with a concept.
Exactly.
An ethical loophole in the system.
Exactly.
And even in those, maybe you feel a dire situation, there's still a creative element of how you're going to process that outcome.
I even think it applies to health. You know, sometimes if someone's sick, you're trying to find remedies, trying to figure out what works. I mean, it's like, okay, if I do this and I do this, how can I solve this problem, right?
And the bridge to it.
Yeah.
Because you could have the Western ideology of what health looks like,
Yeah.
and then the Eastern, and then the holistic element of it. If you go back to the books and see what our ancestors and how they process those healing.
Yeah.
So it's all just it's all the bridge.
Well, guess what? You guys can't tell me anything. I'm an artist.
You are.
Because Lucia said it. And I am an artist.
I stand by it. I
stand by it with you. I second it.
Yes. We share in it.
We share in it. Yes, absolutely. So you talk about creating spaces where people don't have to perform. This is so important to me because I feel like we're all performing for something every single day. I even woke up one day and was like, I'm like in a role overload. It's not because my life is chaotic. It just feel like me trying to be several different things. The performance is killing me, you know? And I just wonder, how important is that to you?
So going back to how we can wear a mask, from what I'm hearing is that you felt burnt out. So you take a step back.
Yeah.
If I were painting, it's going to come, you sit down your canvas.
Yeah.
And then come up with a concept for your canvas. And then you'll lay a protective element so that you can paint on top of that canvas. And in each step, it's a breath. And each step, you take a break and you come back to it. Because if you're holding your breath, you can't get it all out at once. You're going to pass out, and we don't want that to happen. And then you don't want your art or your business to lose its foundation, its purpose. So if you go in hot, you won't realize that there's all of these steps in between, and all of that is a becoming. All of that is part of the process. And you step away from it, take a break, come back, and then you realize and appreciate everything.
So what would you say to an artist who's like, hey, I know I have this gift, I know I have this talent, but I need some money. And so now art becomes something else.
Oh, yes, entirely. From my own experience, it was finding the bridge between the business element of it and then the artist element of it and still finding that it renders both of those have a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that purpose serve? And in growing my own businesses, it was a concept.
Yeah.
And then it was like, where could you see yourself in 5 minutes from now?
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in a day, in a week, in a month? And then 5 years later, here we are. So then that's what I can offer to my community, is that it's a breath in between the becoming and then coming back to it. And working in collaborative partnerships, you can trade your skill, you can trade your time. It doesn't always have to be money.
Right.
It's your currency is your time, your currency is your energy. So that's what I would tell other artists, that you could start to bridge that gap, reach out to other artists that you find interesting or you're in alignment with, and then trade services, trade skills, you know,
Right.
and then you build from there. It's like the paperclip thing, you know, what could you trade for it? Kind of.
Right. Instead of just focusing on the monetary gain from it. Yeah.
But that just goes to show where people are at in their perception of their very mapped and lived reality.
Yeah, I know sometimes artists are like, hey, I still got to pay rent.
You do.
I mean, I got to pay rent, and if they have other responsibilities.
But that's also any project you're working on it's going to be a financial investment. And then you can sometimes get sponsorships, but if you can't, just know that your vision can still be achieved. It's going to just take some patience.
Yeah, absolutely. Those
Yeah.
steps in between.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the baby didn't just come out, we're walking.
Mm-mm. That'd be scary.
AI.
It'd be impressive.
AI, that's what it would be.
I was like, I don't know if in your generation you remember the Ally McBuild show and the little death, the Uga Shaka baby. That's what my millennial brain went to that.
Yeah, see, no.
Yeah.
If I see that happen these days, I'm running.
Yeah.
To the nearest plane.
We could be so desensitized to a lot of things now. So you could just witness it and be in awe.
No. I'm sorry. That's one I would not be.
You're running. Okay.
I'm running to the nearest plane.
I respect that.
No more Ashley in the U.S.
That's valid.
What does it mean to you when someone says they feel recognized in your images?
So most recently, I was invited to have an ofrenda in the Ontario Art and History Museum, which comes back full circle. So if I go the linear route, when I was little, I went to Central Elementary in Ontario, and we used to go on walking field trips to our downtown area. And I have loved art because my mom is such an amazing artist, and I've always found her so inspiring. And then going on those walking field trips to the art museum, and like the pandemic hit, because if we're trying to time travel, keep up with me, I'm very neurodivergent. But during the pandemic, I stopped creating because we were in that state of survival.
Yeah.
And then I work in IT and I work in education. So the IB then became an essential worker. And then it was the safety of my community, the safety of my family, the safety of myself. What does that look like and feel like at that time? Was just doing the best with what we got in that moment.
Right.
And then over time, as we were able to come out of those cocoons, in a sense, because it was a compartmentalized element, then my friends and family started DMing me that there was a call for artists for a nonprofit. Even though my art wasn't selected for that, I still made friends.
Yeah.
And then we started doing the art walks. And then from the art walks, it was another friend sent me a call for artists for the Day of the Dead exhibit at the museum.
Yeah.
And then I just went and shooting my shot, sent out a couple of submittals, and they selected one. And then as the downtown area in Ontario has been expanding, there's a lot of remodeling.
Yeah.
And then the museum curator reached out to me and offered me the opportunity to have an ofrenda. So it went from one single art piece to an entire story that I get to share and be seen in that way, to honor my ancestors, to show that there's ceremony in the everyday, that I don't have to go to the mountains or
exactly.
That would be beautiful. But what exists in this day and age is the ceremony that we have within, and then being able to, as a Chicana artist, show that one one facet of that lens, because as things are curated, it's going to be curated from a different element, a different
Right.
lens.
Right.
So how do we share that story in an era where I believe every era serves its own purpose of what it means to take up space, especially as a Hispanic, especially as a woman and a minority, and then sharing the multimedia element of it, where it shows like my photography, my neighborhood, my community, getting to appreciate it again, because then it's like, how do I show the connection where my community is going to feel seen and
Yeah.
validated? And even though in that time there's a lot of protest, we still have to show up through joy and through a sacred space, and to provide that space where they can even process their own emotions and then to see what their features look like. And in that exhibit, from a photo of a photo, we didn't ever get to see what our grandpa looked like on our mom's side, because they were migrant workers that came from like Arizona, New Mexico during the Great Depression to California. And from that and my nerdiness with IT, I could digitally remaster that photo. So my family got to see out of that one photo where all of our features came from, and we've seen so much of ourselves reflected back into that us, and then our community. Because as my family processed their emotions, my sister's like, "How do you do it, Lucia?" And I was like, "We tell a story. It's not just me. Like, I'm a vessel. I'm a conduit, and all of your belief and your support helps to create this." And then as the community came during opening day, and just throughout the time that it was there, because it was open from like August until November, and my family getting to witness how the community was also processing and showing reverence and respect for our ancestors. And then they're crying. These strangers don't even know me.
Because culturally they can connect, right? Like, I mean, it's probably your story, but it's very similar to others. Yeah.
That's how my family gets to witness it and show that they're still loved and respect, even from complete strangers.
Wow.
And how we take up space.
Wow. Yeah, that's absolutely amazing that it was that powerful.
Yeah, because when they told me, yeah, we're sorry, we're just gonna give you like a table, and I was like, I get a table, and then they're like, you can use the floor and you can use the wall, and I was like, so I'm appreciative, because it gets to create so much depth and dimension within what others would see as such a confined space.
Yeah.
But you have so many dimensions of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned trust and safety often. So how do you build that with people you photograph?
We're doing it now.
I know, right?
Yeah, and then I'm living the photograph. And then I never ask of my clients or other artists what I'm not willing to do myself. So I can't say, hey, one day I want to have an interview with you, or one day, hey, I would love to capture you. How would I do that authentically? And there was this one interview I saw with an artist, and I don't remember his name, but he works in the fashion industry. And in that time, he gave an example of like, if you and I only had 20 minutes, right? And we need to capture an authentic shot of who you are, the essence of who you are, because your eyes tell so much and your smile tells so much. So his example was, if I had 20 minutes to share with you, what that 20 minutes would look like would be 15 minutes of getting to know who you are to the best of our ability within that confines of time. And then 5 minutes, because all we need is 1 to 2 good shots to capture the essence of you authentically.
Right.
So we're doing that now, and we're sharing that now. So you're living it. So you're the example of it, and I'm the example of it.
So when you guys see me on Lucia's page and she photographed me, that's because we spent 45 minutes getting to know each other.
Sharing time together.
The trust and safety. So slowing down means something to you, correct? Help us understand what slowing down means to you.
It's the now. We're here. And I think we shared it before, whether it was as we were recording or before we were recording. Enjoying this shared experience with you, for me, is what it means to slow down. As a reminder of how you are also an artist, of how also you are creative. Through my photography, it's capturing that shared moment together.
Yeah.
Encapsulated in our little time capsule. And then you can go, and as you've matured and you've evolved, you come back with reverence for yourself in a way.
Yeah.
That when we captured that in that moment and we slowed down, had I not been there or had we not had that shared time together, we would have missed that shared opportunity.
Yeah.
So it was just encapsulating it.
So I like the analogy you use as far as the painting. Like when you do anything, you have to code it and then you have to go away, take a break, step away, come back, and then do the next process. It's steps, right? So in this busy day-to-day world, you know, it's all distractions we're surrounded by. In theory, it sounds wonderful. But what's the practicality behind it? How do you actually give someone step-by-steps or at least a step-by-step guide to say, hey, if you don't do anything else, here go 5 steps to make sure that you're slowing down in a way that's very meaningful?
It just takes 5 minutes. Say you're going to read a book and you're like, whoa, this is a lot of chapters. Or, whoa, this is too many words on that page. Even if in that moment you just read that one word or that one sentence, that's a step.
Yeah.
Even if it was just like, okay, I went to the store, that takes energy.
Yeah.
You could either buy the canvas or you can make the canvas, but neither direction is incorrect. It's just what you have the means to create. So one could be an intention, but then what is the action that comes next? And then doing that and building from there.
Gotcha.
So if you were at the store, okay, got the canvas, drove home. That's what I did today. That's still a step. Okay, my canvas is here. I put it on my easel. Okay, that was a step for that day. And then you just go from there if that answers your question.
So what I'm hearing is Lucia figured out how to just take things in incremental steps.
Yes.
And it's just easier.
And sometimes it's a flow state.
But
it just comes in waves, but it all serves a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all part of the process.
Instead of trying to throw everything on there like splash painting.
But it's just to make it so that there's that space to breathe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that space in between of rendering whatever it is that you're going to.
And not necessarily for everyone else, but for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
For those who's listening, just baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
Take a step, draw back, take a step. But the drawback doesn't mean that you're not being productive and you're not moving forward.
It doesn't. You need that space, that time to process it, because then you're going to open up the channels for the next inspirational step.
Cool. So I absolutely love that. I hope everyone can take a piece of that and implement it somehow in their life. The world that I live in, I see people move nonstop. And I'm sitting there wondering, like, how are you doing it? And I try, and there's no judgment, but it's like, I could never.
Well, it goes back to where you say we're in a performance-based society.
Yeah.
So if we're in a performance-based society, that would then render a reward and punishment. Yeah. So what is the fear element of that momentum? And where's the fear element of you not allowing yourself to breathe?
Exactly.
And then if you're crazy, like crazy understands crazy. If you're not crazy, you won't understand it.
Right. Well, listen, Lucia is not only an artist, she is dropping gems over here. Slow down. It's like all the little caution signs on the street, right? Slow down. We're in the school zone. I'm actually going to use that.
Go ahead.
We're in the school zone. Slow down.
Share it.
So you mentioned you love Lego.
Yes.
Like Lego sets.
Yes.
Do you think it helped build your creative process? Or was that just a part of your excellent, wonderful, terrific, absolutely amazing skill set you were born with?
There was just the color element of it. And like puzzles seem so overwhelming for me, where other people find them so relaxing.
Yeah.
And like this goes back to me being a kid, and this just carried over into me being an adult. And I couldn't get behind putting a puzzle together, and I felt like I didn't have the like the attention span for it. But Legos to me were like coloring with bricks.
Yeah.
And so then I could separate them into color piles, and then I didn't find it as overwhelming as like a puzzle, because I was like, even if you put them together and you try to like organize them in piles, I was like, no, I can't commit to that. That's a lot for me. But with the Lego element, I loved that I could create any realm. So there would be any dimension.
And it wasn't limiting.
Yeah. And so even until this day, I sit with a Lego set and then I'll do like what I did when I was a kid. But I also like that even if you purchase a set, you could still build something else out of that set, because
Absolutely.
you could take it apart, put it together, and then every time you take it apart, like disassemble it to rebuild it, it'll give a new meaning to it. And then it just helps me stay present. And it's good for those who also like have anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
to bring that worry and that breath back into the present moment. You could do something tactile.
Gotcha.
So it serves multiple purposes.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go buy me a Lego set.
Yeah, they have so many.
The way I think of it conceptually is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the Legos are acting as resources.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you have in your environment at the time of, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not to say you have to use all of them at one time. It's not to say you need to use them. It's like take what you need, create what you want, and it's always gonna still be there.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And then not every Lego set has a certain color. So you could just bring that into your art. You could bring that into your creativity.
We got a genius over here, you guys.
We both geniuses out here.
So I heard you say your mom was an artist.
Yes.
Okay, tell me more about your mom.
She is the artist of the now. She's loved to illustrate. So like way back in the day, we were really into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really into Donatello because homeboy was into computers.
Right.
And my little sister was into Michelangelo because he loved pizza. She loved her some pizza. And then our dad worked for Federal, which was this modern day paper mill.
Yeah.
And he would bring us scraps of paper,
Wow.
like poster size. And paper's not cheap. Like we were talking about how would you explain that, right? The monetary element of it. So he would bring us scraps of poster size paper because they would produce like cards, magazines, all of this stuff. Anything you could imagine, that's what they would use. So he'd bring those to us, and then we'd lay on the floor with our mom, and she would show us how you start to draw in shapes.
Wow.
Starting from like our names and bubble letters, and then what does the Ninja Turtle look like from the comic book? How you're going to take that shape and how are you going to replicate it here?
Yeah.
And then we were just from there. And that's how we started. And then that's how I sold like my first painting at like 6 years old in like my first grade class so that we could all go to Disneyland that year. But it stemmed from that, from her just showing like our dad providing one resource and then our mom providing the other resource, and then where your imagination goes as you can freehand, because you could have a stencil, you can create a graft.
Right.
And then even in that graph could go back to Legos, because in the graph it's just a square. And then in that one square, what shape is going to go in there?
So very similar to what we just said.
Mhm.
Is all of the resources is just a matter of what you decide you want.
A matter of perspective.
Man, this has been absolutely wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I can sit here and talk to you all day. But before we close out, so if someone's listening and feels unseen right now, what would you want them to know?
Your very existence is needed.
Yes.
So within that shared experience, see it as a gift, rendering you into the now. Because if you hadn't that experience, how could you share that story?
Right.
And how would you be able to relate to someone later on in their life, sharing that feeling of grief or that feeling of joy? Because if you think about it, every great sorrow prepares you for an even greater sorrow, and every great happiness prepares you for an even greater happiness.
Yeah.
And it stems from gratitude and processing that moment and showing yourself a kindness and a mercy that you don't always have to be performing. It's not all about performing. It's about that behind the scenes moment of our very human experience.
What do you hope people carry with them after experiencing your art?
Possibility.
Yeah.
Possibility that you may feel inspired to go and then create something from your perspective.
Yeah.
And share that with yourself or share it with your community.
Well, that is absolutely amazing. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to hear your perspective, even as a local artist. It's always wonderful to hear how the thoughts are coming, how they're going, how they're
Hmm.
flowing. Because, like you said, when you're in your float state, it's just a different feeling. And I always hope that everyone can make it to that place because it's like not, it's like the world is still and you're the only thing existing at that
Yes.
moment.
There's no linear time.
Exactly. I really hope that your message today can send that to many around the world to actually start to embrace the slowness
Thank you.
and the breaks in between and understand that's like the new normal,
Hmm.
right? Doesn't have to be fast paced to mean that it's being productive or successful.
Yes. And likewise, thank you for you and your team creating the space for us to come and share this time and have these conversations
Yeah.
and share the wisdom and the experience.
Well, absolutely. But before you go, we have a t shirt that we printed for you. If you want to show us and just let us know what's the name of this particular piece.
Thank you. First of all, thank you. This piece, I was just in the downtown LA area in the arts district in Little Tokyo, and it's hope.
Is that of a person?
My reflection's in it, but it was a statue that
Oh,
I saw.
wow.
It was just capturing that moment of synchronicity when you're asking the universe a question and you take a step back, take a breather,
Yeah.
and it renders a response and it's open for interpretation. It also goes to show like this t-shirt is more than just a t-shirt. It's also functional art.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now it's both of our calling cards because they're going to be like, where'd you get that? And then we get to share that story.
Yeah. And it also goes back to what you said. What do
Yeah.
you want people to know about you or get from your art and its
Yeah.
hope, possibility,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And then it's also we're bilingual. So now we're speaking the Japanese and the English language, and we're bridging the Western and the Eastern ideology of hope or experience of hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And if you want to tell everyone where they can find you, if that's Instagram, website, or any local.
Yeah, you can hit me up on Instagram at Five Eyes Wide Art. I'm open to collaborations and I look forward to hearing from you or just sharing this experience. I just hope it finds you wherever you're at on your journey, sincerely.
Absolutely. So that's it. Thank you for Lucia being here for on Ink and Identity, and we'll see you next time.
So, what I liked about the Ink and Identity podcast was the very thoughtful, intentional questions. Being able to have the space to share my story with our audience and our community. I'd like to say thank you for the shirt. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe Ink and Identity.